Michael Ware was only 19 when he served as an intern for Senator and presidential candidate Barack Obama in 2008.
Greatest honor of my life. I mean, it was to be there, to be in the thick of things.
Later, he would work in Obama's Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, and in 2012, he handled faith outreach for the president's re-election campaign. It led to a wild ride for a Christian like Ware, especially working for a president whose moral and religious views evolved dramatically throughout his time in the White House. Ware talks about the lessons he learned in his new book, Reclaiming Hope.
The contraception mandate, what was that discussion, debate, conversation like in your office?
It was like this looming thing.
After Obamacare became law, the White House faced the decision of whether to allow Christian employers an exemption when it came to providing insurance coverage of contraception and abortion-inducing drugs.
It was extremely tense. It was years of my life, years of advocates' lives that were trying to be earnest, good faith, advocates within the White House. And the administration made the wrong decision right out of the gate. And you can tell that they made the wrong decision because they've revised it over a dozen times since they made it. And to me, it became clear that a more aggressive approach was taken than necessary, and that part of the reason for that was to stoke political conflict.
In other words, it all came down to politics. Ware says Obama operatives knew stoking this controversy that GOP presidential nominee Mitt Romney would certainly oppose would allow them to fabricate a Republican war on women, a war that took hold in the 2012 campaign. After the botched religious exemption, things were never the same between the president and religious leaders.
You know, a lot of evangelicals voted for the president in 2008 thinking he supported traditional marriage and civil unions.
I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Now, for me as a Christian, it's also a sacred union. God's in the mix.
He told Rick Warren God was in the mix, and then when he announced his evolution, he brought up the golden rule, which, golden rule's been around for a long time, and so I don't know what changed in the application of the golden rule from when he had one position in 2008 to when he quote-unquote evolved in 2012.
Later, Obama senior advisor David Axelrod revealed it was all a campaign concoction. President Obama always supported gay marriage, but knew his position would lessen his chances of winning in 2008.
President Obama has had his personal faith challenged more than any other president in history. Was that a constant thorn in your side?
Yeah, I hope people understand when they're sending around these chain emails that, there were Muslim prayers on the South Lawn, like someone actually has to deal with that, and you're looking at them. Believe me, I was there. I would have been the first to question if there were Muslim prayers being held on the South Lawn.
Ware regrets Christians didn't do more to encourage Obama in his faith.
My sort of problem was it seemed a standard was being applied to him that folks don't apply to people in their own congregation. If you don't agree with someone in your congregation on a political issue, or if you don't think that they're doing things exactly right, you don't kick them out of church. You try and edify them and try and build them up in their faith.
So how does America reclaim hope?
You can have all kinds of things to hope for, but I want to encourage people to think about where their hope is placed. When everything else falls short, what can they count on? And for me, that's been Jesus. When your hope is in solid ground, then all kinds of possibilities and opportunities open up. You're able to look for where God is operating in the world, even in politics. Politics is not the one area of life that can't be affected by the kingdom of God. Just imagine if we had a country full of people who were grounded in the hope of Christ, and that hope propelled them to love their neighbor well.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.